Jim Himes joins us from New York City to discuss his vote. Thank you for taking time, sir. What went into your decision?
Well, like the rest of the delegation, I think like every member of Congress, this was not a deal that we felt good about. You know, compromise seems to be that way. If you do it right, nobody feels all that good at the end. There are any number of things that I would have changed in that bill, but here's the thing. Today, the United States of America did not default, and that was very much on the table had that failed in the Congress. And then look, we've got a long, hard road to go with respect to getting us on a more sustainable fiscal path, and this plan will find $2.1 trillion in deficit savings over 10 years. And by the way, that's just the start. We've got more to go, but it's a start. So, you know, compromise is ugly, but yesterday, at great long last, the U.S. Congress compromised.
3-2 split in the delegation. Did you all meet at all? Were there philosophical differences if you did?
No, I don't think so. You know, this was a close vote for everybody. It wound up passing comfortably in the House, but I don't think that anybody cast their vote and then went out and celebrated the result. There is nothing to celebrate when we're talking about getting our nation on a more sustainable path. We're talking about spending cuts, which at the end of the day are going to hurt people. We're talking about the possibility of the increase in revenue, and of course, you know, people hate the idea of that. And so there's really nothing good about this.
Well, all right, let's talk about this finger in this very large dike. What are your thoughts on a long-term solution?
Well, this gets us about halfway there. You know, most economists will tell you that over the next 10 years, the leadership of this country needs to find a way to take about $4 trillion out of the trajectory that we're spending right now. This was $2.1 trillion. Lots of people terribly disturbed that it included no revenue. You know, none of the wealthiest people in this country were asked to contribute this time around. President said this was a line in the sand for him, but at the end of the day, it wasn't in the compromise. But again, this is just the start. This is about halfway to where we need to get over the course of the next couple of years. Americans
were really mad about all this as they looked at what was going on in Washington. Have you personally experienced constituent anger? And how do you explain to them what went on?
Of course people are mad. You know, politics right now are as aggressive and partisan and as divided as ever. But, you know, let's remember, the American people sent the Tea Partiers to Congress. And by the way, I don't say that in a derogatory way. Those guys have a right to be there, and they are adamant, and they're not compromising. And this is 435 people with very different points of view and different arguments to make. And guess what? That's messy. The partisanship was ugly, but, you know, as your previous story just said, we got the compromise done. Hopefully this is behind us, and what a wonderful way to end. You know, with 2 minutes to go in that vote, Gabby Gifford shows up on the floor and reminds every one of us, Republicans and Democrats, that there are some profound, emotional, human things that we all share in common. And what a round of applause and what an emotional moment that was.
Boy, that's pretty an extreme circumstance for that poor woman. What was your reaction last night when she entered?
Well, I was just stunned. You know, I was watching the final vote, and as she entered, it was clear that the compromise was going to go through, that we weren't going to be dealing with a default today with all of the catastrophe that would have involved. So people were breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief. And then Gabby appeared, and all of a sudden, all of those partisan swords and arrows and armor, they just sort of dropped away from everybody. And here we saw one of our colleagues who was shot in the head, you know, in a terrible, terrible incident. And here she was saying, this is important to me, standing up right now. Being part of this was important. You know, I'll tell you, as you said, there wasn't a dry eye in the House, and these eyes weren't dry either.
Jim Himes from New York City, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.